The title of this show sounds like anal beads. There, I said it. Let's move on from that joke. Cue title scene. Angel Beats is a 2010 fantasy drama anime that, if it wasn't for the suggestion of my fellow reviewer, who I will do a spoiler review on this show with sometime next week, The Unknown Knight, I would never have watched. Now, I'm not really into shows like this, and of any country, Japan, America, England, God knows where else, but it actually kind of works for me. And you're going to hear me say that phrase a lot. But first up, the plot. Basically, Angel Beats is a post-life, afterlife sort of thing. Basically, the way it works is our main character, whose name you're not going to really remember, basically, he dies, wakes up memoryless at what looks like an abandoned high school ground, because, you know, everything takes place in high school, where he meets a girl who is 1,000 times more interesting than him, named Yuri, I think, who has a giant shotgun and is about to kill another girl whose name we will not be revealed for the first half of the show, and I won't spoil it here. All you know is that this girl's name is Angel, and according to Yuri, our main character is dead, like her and like everyone else in this show. And again, like I said, this isn't really the thing for me. I don't really think about the afterlife much, but this kind of perked my interest because of the way it was done. You know, the main character, he had no memory of how he died. All he remembered was his name, which I imagine was mostly just to get you through the first few episodes with him. But from there it got kind of interesting, because the idea was that her and an army of other dead teenagers wanted to kill this being that they just refer to as Angel. They believe that they are in some form of like purgatory or something to that effect, and they believe the world is ran by Angel, who serves God or something like that. And they believe that if they can defeat Angel, they can either seek vengeance on God or control their fate, or yeah, their goals don't make a whole lot of sense. And unfortunately, there are some other issues in this show. There are some huge, gaping plot holes that will become extremely obvious when you finish the series. It's only 13 episodes. Some of the plot elements themselves don't really come together. I don't think the world they were living in was shown very well. But, oddly enough, it kind of worked, at least for me. Because the thing is, it's the afterlife. It doesn't really have to make sense. Even though you kind of want it to, it shouldn't, because it's beyond our understanding. And this show, I think, had a really good use of that. Yeah, you never really figured out what the teenagers were after, but they didn't really know. All they knew is that here they were, all these people lived like tortured and bad lives, we assume, and they just wanted to, I guess, control something. And that was really interesting. I'm also really glad that the show didn't take a very formulaic path. I never really knew what to expect. Now, I understand the show is supposed to be 26 episodes. It instead got reverted to 13. I actually think that works to its advantage, because a couple of the episodes, it was focused on seeing what lives the characters lived and how tragic and dramatic it was. Other episodes were just plans to fight Angel. Others were different. I actually liked that. I never knew what was going to come next. I never knew how it was going to be done. I thought that was really clever, and it really worked. In fact, when we revealed like a bunch of the few little dramatic stories we learned, I really found myself tearing up. I don't really cry at things like this. I don't cry at TV or movies or really anything, but this got to me. So it does succeed in that very well. And that's really what matters. These characters, even though they're not the most memorable ever made, they're told in such an earnest and depicted in such a natural way. When you're revealed their backstories, they really do feel like the tragic stories you hear about on the news and what happens after that. I'm not saying this is real in any respect, but I thought it did a great job at conveying that and making me care, which is the ultimate goal in a show like this. As for the animation, it was decent. It's kind of weird. It's done with this sort of, so it constantly looks like there's a light beating down on everyone's heads, even in the dark. And at first I figured it was just like to avoid showing halos, but then when they show the real world, it's there too, so that was kind of strange. You know, like I said, from there, things don't add up. There are plot holes, but this show succeeds at what it is trying to do perfectly. And for me, this felt very original, one of the most original shows I've ever seen. Now, before someone points out, oh, Kevin, there's other animes that have this premise and work with this style and idea. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I've never seen them. So for me, this was my first for this kind of thing. And I really felt myself engrossed. I found myself caring about everyone. I found it to be very fascinating. I thought it was told in a very earnest, natural sense. I thought, the score and the soundtrack was very good. They knew when to use the music, when not to use it. They knew when to make the emotions feel real, when for there to be comedy. There's some really laugh-out-loud moments in the show that all comes together very naturally, very strong, very conclusive. The ending, I guess it could disappoint you, but if you're on board for this show and you're okay with admitting that it won't make a total amount of sense or a complete 100%, you will enjoy it. I found it very beautiful. I found myself caring and crying. I will say Angel Beats is a solid 9 out of 10 on the drama scale. Yep, there you go. This series I thought was beautiful. I never want to watch it again. It's not something I'll really care for, but you know what? I am glad I saw it. And what are you glad for? In the comment section below, tell me, whether it's a movie or an anime or a regular TV show, tell me what little thing like that was a pleasant surprise for you. What really shocked you? What really gave you something you weren't expecting? And as always, click to like and click to subscribe, because even though I'm going to be out of town for a good 5 or 6 days, when I come back, there will be stuff to talk about. Because hopefully I can review The Wind Rises.